gamers, and welcome back to another engaging episode of the Daily Days Podcast, the show that goes blissfully, wistfully into the past depths of yesteryear. I'm Mr. Picario, your humble host on this ageless trek, and today our journey is one that mixes both the antiquated with the modern. Video game remakes, in other words, and what they mean for both the industry and those who would presume to serve what which came first. And at the focal point of this topic is none other than the famous Lunar series, a duo of excellent JRPGs hailing back to the 90s. In short, they've just been re-released in typical remastered fashion, and not without, some would say, some controversy. Of all the lauded but lost JRPGs from the 32-bit generation, the Lunar series might be the most lamented. The two games, Lunar Silver Star Story Complete and Lunar Eternal Blue, represent the best of the genre's classical era, combining the finer joys of art, music, and character design to provide a truly endearing, nay enduring, experience. But the series has a mottled legacy. After their PlayStation heyday, the titles languished as the franchise slowly died, becoming but the specter of a simpler, and some would say better, time. The first in the series, Silver Star, kept the franchise barely alive through various remakes on handheld devices. But for all intents and purposes, the series ended with the new millennium. The silver lining to this cloudy star, however, is that a resurrection is at hand. Coined the Lunar Remastered Collection, both titles have returned with cleaned up visuals, a tweaked translation, and various quality of life improvements. It's a cause for celebration, or should be. After decades, old-timers and newcomers alike are getting to experience these tales in their most optimum form. So why are so many still complaining? The reason requires a brief history lesson regarding working designs itself. A developer from the 1990s that specialized in combing Japan for games of a rich and niche sensibility. In those early days, the company was a hero to those wanting more than just another Western-styled platformer or brawler. In working designs, these wishes were realized with elusive games like Cosmic Fantasy II, Popful Mail, and Elemental Gearbolt, and of course the Lunar duology, all breaching the otherwise impervious American market. But in that great irony of time, certain segments of the fandom eventually came to criticize, even hate, the once celebrated company. Self-important elites decried working designs as being a little too loose with its localizations, for trading authenticity, for accessibility. And in the case of Lunar, the naysayers had a point. Although well-written and humorous, working designs' localized scripts didn't just stray from their source material, they often defied it with weird slang and quirky colloquialisms, sometimes even defiled it with inexplicable pop cultural references. The stories were still heartfelt, still poignant, still rich with the spirit of the Japanese originals, but bore that distinct stink of a translator with no self-control. This left developer Gun-Ho, the new custodian of these games, with a tough decision. Use the original off-kilter scripts, or just retranslate the whole affair. Ultimately, it chose to split the difference, using the original translation while editing/fixing the most eccentric of working designs' embellishments. Superficially, this might seem like a wise compromise, but in reality it's a move that gratifies no one, neither those wanting the original script nor those demanding a new translation. By taking the delicate middle path, Gun-Ho has actually confused matters further by creating a third version that maybe doesn't need to exist at all. Indeed, either rewrite the Japanese one completely, or stick with the original translation. This milquetoast third alternative is indeed more skim milk than cream. All of this highlights the industry's addiction to remaking anything classic for easy profit, and further raises the question whether these redos do more to help or hinder the preservationist's cause. Gun-Ho's case is the perfect example. What is it preserving exactly with the specific Lunar releases? Definitely not the Working Designs versions, and certainly not the Japanese originals. People who want the true Working Designs experience, with the original voice actors no less, still have no official way of doing so beyond buying expensive secondhand PS1 copies, or less officially, scouring the internet for their respective ISOs. The problem extends to plenty of other games too. Nintendo's recent remake of the GameCube's Paper Mario: The Thousand-Year Door drastically alters the backstory of an important character, muddying which of the two games is the true definitive version. Live Alive, a Square Enix RPG remade for the Nintendo Switch, does the same, both editing and expanding on the Super Famicom original, in terms of gameplay and plot. What the remake doesn't do, however, is include the original game alongside the updated one. It's an omission that, more than depriving players of experiencing the game in its originally intended form, greatly disrespects the original developers. Here, the remake isn't preserving history, it's burying it. Here, less than a remake, the new game is a replacement, the only release that matters, a retcon of another team's now forgotten work. And it's even worse than it sounds. Imagine if, say, Tolkien's Lord of the Rings was rewritten by some hired hand, and that version was what was then sold in place of the original trilogy. Even if the rewrites were, quote, better, would that still justify killing the original author's work? Would Tolkien himself approve? Of course not. But such is the disgrace of the modern remake industry. Too often these reboots disrespect their forebears, too often do they neglect their own history. Countless souls toiled on the original games in the hope they would entertain generations to come. But that isn't happening, at least not anymore, not really. Will anyone play the GameCube version of Paper Mario 2 when Nintendo is all but mandating the newer version? Will anyone seek Live Alive's 16-bit incarnation when Square Enix itself sniffs dismissively at the original? The Lunar Remastered Collection is no different. It capitalizes on the PS1 classics without actually honoring them, thereby snubbing those who brought them westward in the first place. Why won't Gun-Ho let the original PS1 copies exist side by side with the remastered works? Why can't Vic Ireland, the former president of Working Designs, broker some kind of deal. Why can't both companies come to an agreement for the sake of the fans and really history? Money, pride, indifference, there's probably plenty of blame on both sides, but it does perfectly encapsulate what normally does happen. Once the remake comes, the original gets dumped. And this, frankly, needs to stop. It's anti-art, anti-artist, anti-intellectual, and a preservationist's ever-growing nightmare. And with that said, well, thanks for listening. If you did like this, please stop by my website, lostnostalgia.com, for more essays and philosophical musings on old media, both old and new. Again, that's lostnostalgia.com. Until next time then, this is Mr. Picario signing off for now.